Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting.
North Dakota State, Coach Polasek, right? Yeah. Wonderful coaching history, wonderful coach. I got the utmost respect for he and his programs and what he's accomplished through his coaching career. Coming over from Wyoming, OC and DC, quarterback coach last 3 years. They won 17 national championships, including 9 since 2011, 37 conference championships. So this team will be well prepared, they will be disciplined, and they will come to play. Let's get it started.
McFeely. McFeely.
That is the thing that stood out to me on Saturday as I was watching the Deion Sanders press conference, and I eventually wrote about it. Paul Sec, is that right? Yes. And I you know,
It's like a 7th grade book report, like 17 national championships, offensive coordinator.
I mean, let's all keep this in mind, okay? It's North Dakota State.
Correct.
It's an FCS program in the middle of nowhere. Big deal in FCS.
Big deal to us.
When it comes to the Power 5, I mean, the Bison have a reputation in college football because of all the success they've had. And so people have heard about them. And the coaches here have gone to other places. David Braun's the head coach at Northwestern. And
Chris Kleiman's the coach at Kansas State.
Chris Kleiman's the coach at Kansas State. Craig Bowles at Wyoming forever. He's now the head of the AFCA, the American Football Coaches Association. Matt Entz is in Los Angeles. There's a web out there.
There's a tree out there.
Right. Yep.
Not to Deion.
Not to Deion. Nope.
But Deion coached in FCS football, Mike.
But what? And again, I don't expect Deion Sanders to be naming off the too deep for North Dakota State.
But like when I asked him in Vegas, he actually gave something there, right?
Yeah. Remember? Yeah, it was like a totally different.
Right.
Like he smiled and he kind of like understood. But then it's like it was odd. It was just Paul Sec. And then Tim yesterday in his press conference, I think we were asking about, or somebody asked, like, what's it going to be like to coach your first ever game as a head coach against Deion Sanders? Yep. And Tim goes, well, I've talked to others who have coached against him. Wonder who that might be. And, apparently he doesn't come out of the locker room until right before kickoff.
Yep.
So he doesn't.
Normally that happens.
If you've ever been to a college football game and you're there, an hour before the game or whatever, the head coaches and the assistant coaches,
they're commiserating out there.
They're commiserating at midfield and as the teams are warming up.
It's a great photo opportunity, honestly.
It's just one of those things that happens. It just, everybody knows each other in college football. They know guys who've coached, and just Deion he's in his own world, man. This is a whole different deal than anything North Dakota State has gotten into before.
And as we talked about over the weekend, it's not about college football. It's about Deion. That's not about the Bison. This is all not about Colorado. It is all about Deion.
That was the other clip or the other thing that sort of made me chuckle. During Deion's press conference on Saturday, somebody from the Colorado media asked a basic question that we've all asked before. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said, so I know it's an FCS team but the fact that NDSU has won 17 national championships over the course of their history, and they maybe look more like an FBS team than, and Deion just cut him off.
Yep.
And the point is, does that help you get your players' attention because it's an FCS team, right? I mean, it's a basic question. And Deion cuts him off and says, no. What gets our attention is that we're on national television. Our kids know about that.
Yep.
What gets our attention is that there are 5 or 6 NFL scouts at practice today. That's what gets our attention. We know everybody wants to beat us. We know we're on everybody's radar. Yep. That's what gets our attention. And that was this
We want to go out there and dominate.
Our kids want to go out there and dominate, which they might on Thursday night.
Very well could.
But it's such an odd answer because so your motivation for your football team is that you're going to be on ESPN and you're going to show off to the world on ESPN. That's what your motivation is. I mean,
not a conference championship.
Not we have, our goal is to get to a bowl game this year, or our goal is to, win more than 4 games, or our goal is to be a better football team on Sunday or on Friday than we were on Wednesday. And all of those might be cliches, but
I'd like to hear the head football coach say that, right?
But I mean, that's fine. But I think but I think football coaches are being, it's an honest answer to say, this program hasn't been to a bowl game in 6 years, and this is one step to where we need to get to 6 wins or whatever. But it's like that's our motivation. No, the motivation is they're on ESPN, and it's to get to the NFL.
Yep.
And that's the motivation.
Yep.
And so it's likely going to work on Thursday night. All right, Colorado's favored by now 10. I think it's going to be a very difficult matchup for the Bison. Especially with Wisniewski out, that's a bad injury long-term for them, but particularly in this game.
Short-term, real tough.
But it's going to be a tough ask for the Bison on Thursday night. But when you're playing Nebraska the next week, if you're Colorado, your motivation isn't going to be, we need to be physical. We need to match up to Nebraska. They're going to be, they're a much improved football team. If we want to reach our goal of being a top 15 team in the country, nope. That game's going to be on national television.
That game's on national television too.
Yep.
So that's on NBC.
It was just a strange answer, and it's entertaining as hell.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And for an old man like me that's covered everything from junior college football to NAIA football to Division II to, I've been through every step of this Bison run from 11 to 21 or 22 or 23, whatever you want to call it. And it's unlike anything that I've seen before.
We said that when he got hired. Yeah, I remember you said that right here on the show. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait to write about it. And it's lived up to that every step of the way.
And he's got talent all over the field.
Gosh,
I'm not denying any of that. Yeah. And I've said this from the beginning as well, and I'll continue to say it, is there are people that are dismissing this model, that are just saying, this is never going to work. I don't know that it's not going to work. It didn't work last year.
It didn't.
But they were the worst major college football team in the country in 2022.
They won one football game.
One football game. In the Colorado program was as dead as it could possibly be.
Right.
And if they would have kept on that same path, NDSU would probably be favored on Thursday night. They were that bad. And, you can say, well, what does this all mean when Deion leaves? It's all fraudulent. But I don't know that it is. I don't. I have my feelings of what I think is going to happen this season to Colorado, but I don't know that. And until we know that for sure, maybe the motivation for this 100 and whatever guys he's got on Colorado, maybe it's national television.
Maybe, yeah.
So they can do the watch thing or whatever, and maybe that's it. And in today's world of the transfer portal and NIL, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
And maybe this model works. I don't think it's going to.
I don't think so either.
But maybe it's going to.
Yeah.
So I've kept an open mind about this whole thing just because it's different and just because old guys don't like it.
It's rattled the sabers there.
It's rattled rattled everybody's cage in college football because it's so different. And nobody from what I've been told, nobody in the college football world likes Deion.
Yep.
All the other coaches are hoping he fails because it's just this. And maybe he's the one guy who can do it because he's Deion Sanders.
Him. Yep.
But we don't know if it's going to work or not.
Nope. And that's the fascinating part about it. I mean, even being there in Vegas, you just got that aura about it. Like, okay, we'll see. He's got it was totally different, Mike. When we were there Tuesday, when Colorado wasn't there, that felt like a normal college football-esque atmosphere. But then the next day when he was there, it was totally different.
Yeah.
Totally. Just the aura of that, the entourage with it. It was, and that we'll see that Thursday night play out, and I can't wait. Can't wait to see it.
It's going to be fantastic. And he's got, we'll see what he's got.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think it's going to be a very difficult game for North Dakota State.
How did politics start? This is going to be a difficult W to acquire.
Yes.
I hadn't heard that before. I like that one.
Yes. Yep. and it will be. It's also going to be difficult. It's difficult for every FCS team to beat any Power 4 team. I mean,
we're going to see a host of them in the Missouri Valley.
It's going to be a very difficult challenge for South Dakota State to win at Oklahoma State. It's going to be a very difficult challenge for North Dakota to win at Iowa State. It's going to be a very difficult challenge for South Dakota to win at Wisconsin.
Yep.
I mean, so that's not unusual.
Nope.
And the only reason that this is, people think that this might happen is because it's NDSU.
NDSU's lineage in these games.
Their lineage of winning these games.
Correct. Let's break. We come back with Mike's thoughts on what Polasek had to say on Shedeur Sanders. Polasek. And a little closer look at Travis Hunter as well. He's awfully good, too.
He seems like he's okay.
Back on Hot Mike right after this. Back here on Hot Mike, what was your favorite Bailey Zappi moment? He got released by the Patriots just a minute ago. Remember him? Houston Christian?
Yes.
Lit up, or Houston Baptist.
Used to be Houston Baptist.
Yeah.
Then they changed it to Houston Christian.
He lit up South Dakota. Remember that in Vermillion? He was the quarterback. He threw for 600 yards.
That's right. Oh, man.
He's out of a job.
Oh, no. That's not good.
I'm sorry. And also one of our all-time favorites.
The Nooch.
Not him.
Oh, he got released today,
he did.
Too. Yep.
James Robinson, released by the Saints. James Robinson was a dude at Illinois State, folks.
Yep, he was. He was really good.
Really good. That is perfect segue.
I was just going to say, so is he one of the best that's the Bison ever played against?
He's not in the top 10, but he's in that for me. Because obviously we played the soundbite about Shedeur Sanders. You've covered Bison football for 30-some-odd years. Shedeur Sanders, you've seen him play. Is he number one in your mind?
I mean, you'd have to think that he is. I mean, they haven't played the game yet. I mean,
but he's likely he's going to be a top 5 NFL draft pick.
Likely, yes. I mean, and if he throws 3 interceptions and fumbles twice, and NDSU wins 27-24, then you go, well, okay. I mean, but that's unlikely to happen,
right?
But he sure seems like it, and I'll take Polasek's word for it. And I mean, it all, and I've tweeted this out before, is when NDSU played Central Michigan back in 2006, Antonio Brown and J.J. Watt were on Central Michigan. I think Antonio Brown was either a redshirt or a true freshman, and he had 5 or 6 catches, I think. But at the time, you're going, oh, that guy's pretty good. Yep. But you didn't know what he was going to become.
Can I list off some guys I wrote down and get your thoughts on them?
Yep.
Jarek McKinnon. He's pretty darn good at Georgia Southern. Played for the Vikings. Tyler Lockett is still playing at Kansas Kansas State.
Yes, he was good. Yep.
I think this guy's number 1 on your list. David Johnson.
Yep.
Northern Iowa.
He was pretty darn good. Yep.
Rhett Bomar. We forget him.
No, these are all skill position players.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
You mentioned Antonio Brown.
Rhett Bomar. Wow.
Sam Houston.
Yep.
Eric Decker played for the Gophers. Went to the NFL.
Yep.
Ramses Barden was a dynamite. He played in the NFL from Cal Poly. He was really good. James Ruffin was awfully good, Northern Iowa. That was the guy that Craig Bohl, I remember, said, we don't have any players that look like him when they played Northern Iowa.
Yep. Okay.
Taiwan Jones, running back from Eastern Washington.
Kendrick Bourne. There's a bunch of those guys.
Crockett Gilmore from Colorado State. Your guy, Eric Breitenstein from Wofford. He was really good.
Yeah.
Another one, Trey Roberson, Illinois State quarterback.
Pretty good, yep.
This is my vote, is Cooper Kupp.
Of course it is.
From Eastern Washington.
Cooper Kupp apologist.
Dallas Goedert.
He was pretty good.
George Kittle.
He was pretty good.
Played for Iowa.
Yep.
So Jake Winicky, your guy, South Dakota State. I know there's a lot of skill guys on there, but
obviously there have been offensive and defensive linemen who have also The Kalen Saunders
Kalen
from Western Illinois. Pretty dang
Yes.
good. That's a game where you're in. I think we're in Macomb.
Sacked Easton Stick back-to-back plays.
We're in Macomb going, who is this guy? My God, he's destroying. And his offensive line.
Connor Riley had a couple
which was pretty good, by the way. It wasn't like it was a shabby offensive line.
I was on the sideline for that. For Connor Riley was like, "Are we going to block this?" God. And only how he could say it.
Right.
But
yes.
that is a dynamite list there. And I agree with you. And by the way, number 2 might be Travis Hunter, who plays on this team as well. And we're going to see him.
And I haven't done this research, but what's the highest draft choice that has played against NDSU?
That would be Trevor Penning, offensive lineman from Northern Iowa, was the 19th overall pick in the draft.
So there's a guy, right? I mean,
but you look at this guy. I mean, Hunter. I mean, obviously plays wide receiver. He's also a dynamite corner. And I asked Polasek, what is he more dangerous at wide receiver and corner? And we got the typical answer of, well, he's pretty good at both. Right. And that's something that for Cam. I mean, look at this play, Mike. I mean, I don't know how to go up and do that. Yep. You know, that's what an inexperienced secondary is gonna have to face. And for Cam Miller, they better know where number 12 is, or he's gonna do something like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I asked the question with a purpose yesterday, and everybody knew the answer.
Yeah.
But I said, so how important is it going to be to run the football?
Yep.
And I mean, Paul Sek knows that. I mean, they're going to put 8 guys in the box and just and go and cover man to man because they can. I mean, and NDSU doesn't have a Christian Watson or
this year,
or a Zach Vra or a Darius Shepard. And so it's going to be a challenge. And so NDSU is going to have to establish some kind of running game.
Yes.
And get some first downs, because if you keep putting that offense and Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter and all the other guys they got back on the field after 3 and outs or
right.
or 6 and outs or whatever. I mean, and you can't turn it over.
Nope.
And so it's going to be a challenge.
Email comes in. Mike, all things considered, you guys have discussed, you get the feeling that Coach Prime is looking to run it up on NDSU to make a point.
That could be. I've thought about that as well. Is that, I mean, it's, this is on national television.
Remember what Jed Fish did? That was Arizona.
Yeah. Yep.
He would, yes, I would think if the opportunity presents itself, yes, I think they'll pour it on.
I've been thinking about that the last several days as things are getting more real here. And it's like, I would not, and I'm not saying that he's purposely going to, try to score 50 points in the first half. Obviously, you're trying to.
Yeah.
But when it gets to be the fourth quarter, and if Colorado's up 3 scores in the fourth quarter, my guess is they're going to try to be up 5 scores.
Still
quarter.
winging it. Yeah.
Yep. It's not going to be handoff and run the clock.
Let's get this out of here. Nope.
We're on national television, and there's going to be 10 million people watching, and I'm Deion Sanders.
Last question before you go. I posed this to Sam Herder yesterday. Over 2.5 of FCS over FBS wins this weekend.
Oh, this weekend. I was going to say there's already one.
This weekend.
Oh, boy.
And that doesn't have to be Valley teams. It can be anybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't, frankly, I don't know a lot of the matchups outside of the Valley teams. I haven't looked at that closely.
I know you will tonight. Our friends at Central Arkansas are playing Arkansas State. They're not very good.
Yeah, but that's Arkansas State, though, is for whatever you think about it, they're favored by, 12 points or something.
Was another one I threw at Sam yesterday. We know you are on SIU over BYU.
I have to pick an upset, pick a weird game. I have Southern Illinois beating Brigham Young.
Yep.
And so that's one that I would have to pick and say, sure, okay, there's one. Even though BYU is favored by I think
it's 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. Yep.
SEMO's at New Mexico State. You watched SEMO play the other night.
Yeah, they're not very good, but New Mexico State's terrible.
Yeah, and
so that might be a toss-up coin flip game.
Yeah, that could be one there. I asked Kleiman about this because he looked at me and goes, "We have UT Martin. They're not going to sweat. They're not going to sweat that. They're not sweating that one.
Nope.
They'll be okay there." Sam pointed this one: UC Davis and Cal.
Yeah, I think UC Davis is good. They're a solid FCS program. They're kind of always on the cusp of of making the playoffs. And I think, at times they're in a discussion to be, top 15 type team. Cal is bad. So
ACC member Cal.
Yeah. So it's a possibility. But I think that in the new world, that other than the 4 teams we always talk about, Montana State, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, and we still don't know how good this North Dakota State team is going to be this year. And Montana doesn't play an FBS game because they don't have to, because they fill their stadium for every game, no matter who it is. They don't need the money. That leaves it up to Montana State and stuff. Other than that, I just think that the quality of there's just not a quality depth in FCS anymore. When you lose James Madison, we've been through this a million times. I know. I just don't see it. I just don't see a lot of upsets unless it's a horrible FBS team. I mean, Montana State's a top 3, top 4 FCS team, and they had to have a miraculous comeback to beat literally one of the worst FBS teams in the country.
Yep. As I'll go here, I think Oklahoma State takes it to SDSU. I think they win by a couple scores. I think so.
Yeah, that spread is up to 10.
I would not be surprised if both the Bison and Jacks lose.
ESPN came out. Bill Connolly from ESPN has this.
I saw that.
Computerized. Yep. He's got Oklahoma State with the analytics. He's got Oklahoma State winning, I think, 38-24.
And he said 34-32 on Colorado over North Dakota State.
And
if that ends up being the case,
that opened my eyes.
Yep.
So that's the next question then for North Dakota State fans. You're never going to ask a coach or a player, so you'd be happy if you lose by 2?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're NDSU looking ahead to what you think you have in front of you the rest of the season, I mean, 34-32, you play well.
You take that, absolutely.
And you know what?
Yep.
You never want to lose a game, but you go, okay, well, we'll be fine in FCS. And I still think they're going to be fine in FCS. I just think this is a bad first game of the season and a bad matchup for NDSU.
We got to roll. Your homework assignment is you got a good steak place already picked out for us for
I'm working
Wednesday
on
night?
it. Working on it. Working on it.
We'll see you Thursday in Boulder, right?
Yes,
Let's
absolutely.
do it.
Yep.
Can't wait. 2024, ready to rock and roll. Thanks, Mike. Mike joining us. McFeely. Tuesdays.
Oh, you know me. Oh, you know me.
It's awesome. Hour 2 of the big show begins. We're back right after this.